Good morning, everybody. It's nice to see people here. A bit smaller group than usual because we have a bunch of people who are going up to TWISP, the Winthrop area in the north of the state. Ajahn Nisabo is teaching a 2-day retreat. I'll be going up after this gathering to help tomorrow as well, but that's where a lot of people are, and that I think we do that retreat twice a year. And it's open up to anybody, so if you ever want to do a retreat, we'll keep you all posted about those. And it's just a really nice time. We rent out a grange, and people can come and meditate together all day on a Saturday and Sunday. So that's where others are, if you don't see people who you normally see here. So just have a few announcements. This coming Tuesday, we have a event that we do. We did it last year, and we'll probably do it every year. It's called a Taizé service in collaboration with St. Mark's Cathedral, who so generously hosts us every week. So we'll meet with them, and Tuesday evening, it's kind of a Christian Buddhist prayer event. So there'll be members of St. Mark's Cathedral who will be singing Christian hymns and saying different Bible verses interspersed with our Buddhist chants and verses from the Pali Canon. And so it's just a really nice time to come and get to know this great community that helps support us. And that'll be at 7 o'clock on Tuesday evening, and it's no cost. And if you're in the area, everybody is welcome, and see what that's like, see some of the consilience or some of the relationship and similar threads in these two different traditions. And have an announcement about our upcoming almsgiving ceremony, which is on June 28th, and Kate will make that announcement.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to make an announcement about our almsgiving on Saturday, June the 28th, and it will happen in the Brodel Hall, and a little bit behind the cathedral. It's starting at 9:30, but please come a bit before that, like 9 something. It's almsgiving ceremony is essentially a way that our community come to celebrate Clay Mountain. And we are already in our 4th year, right, Ajahn? Yeah, so 4 years already. So it's a community celebration. We celebrate Ajahn, we celebrate ourselves, the community here and elsewhere as well. And traditionally, almsgiving ceremony is done by the lay community, that we get together and we organize almsgiving, and we offer the requisites to our monastic and our monastery. So the offering can be in terms of food, volunteer activity, or financial support. And for this year, as we are actively looking to buy a piece of land, the money that we raise from this event will go towards our land search, which is hopefully is going to happen very soon. Right, and we will have quite a few other monastics joining us. We will have Ajahn Sona, or Lung Po Sona, coming all the way from Canada. He is a very senior and esteemed monastic. And we have Ayya Anandabodhi coming from Port Townsend. And we have a few other bhikkhu and bhikkhunis as well. Right, so please find more detail on our website. And okay, as for what you need to bring apart from yourself, if you can bring some food for us to share for potluck, that will be great. Apart from that, we have a list of volunteers that I have put on the table in the back. You can see which responsibility is still missing. And Bonnie, Judith, and myself are the lead volunteers. So you can come to ask for about the detail of the responsibility. Right? And then we as a Clear Mountain community, we will be giving the visiting monastics some gifts. So I am I am coordinating the monastic gifts. So anybody would like to contribute, please come to see me, or I also have the sign-up sheet at the back. And if anybody want to start contributing to our almsgiving fund starting today, our treasurer Alison is at the back. Please contact her for that. And then I have some flyers, both in Thai and in English. So if anyone know of a place that they can distribute, please come to get them from me after this. Okay, I think that's all I have to say. Anybody has any question?
Is it okay to put those things in library notice boards?
I think so. Different places, we did get contacted by a judge. We had put it up outside of their house, and they said that it's illegal to leave them up past the date of the thing. So, yeah, don't leave it there too long. But
right. I remember last year, Ajahn Nisapo said if we put the flyer up somewhere, then we go to take them down afterwards. Alison, yes?
Nice, yeah, everybody can just rejoice on Monday. It's the 4-year anniversary of the first one of these gatherings that happened in Magson Park. Yeah, a park here in Seattle. So thanks for that notice.
Mm-hmm. And just a small additional explanation. The last 2 years, we used the term robe offering, but this year we changed it to alms offering, just to make it more general. Because when we say robe offering, then people just thought, oh, so that they would be just bring the ajahns more robes or something, but it's a more generosity sharing thing. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Kate. Yeah, and if anybody has more questions, you can check with Kate or Allison. There are a lot of people who know more about this. And yeah, just encourage people, if you're at all inclined to maybe volunteer for that, the sign-up's back there, and it's a great thing to do. It's a really wonderful, probably the biggest gathering that we have all year. So with all of those announcements, we can chant together, and the first Saturday of every month, we'll actually take the opportunity to chant the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts. So that's on page 128. And Rick, will you do the invitation for that? Or? If people want to follow along with Rick for that formal request, it's on page 126.
Mayang Bante Tisarena Saha Pancha Silani Yachama Dutyampi Mayan Bante Tisarena Saha Pancha Silani Yachama Tatyampi Mayan Bante Tisarena Saha Pancha Silani Yachama.
Page 128. And I'll chant this, the Namo Tassa 3 times, and you can chant after me. And this is just praise to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, the principle of wakefulness, the principle of truth, and just supportive spiritual community. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
And we'll do this next part just back and forth, one for one. Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddham saranam gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranam gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi buddhang saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi dhammang saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi sanghang saranam gacchami.
Tisarana kamanang nititang.
Amabante.
And we'll do these in Pali and in English. Panatipata veramani sikapadang samadhiyami.
Panatipata vedapmani sikapadang samadhiyami.
I undertake the precept to refrain from taking the life of any living creature.
I undertake the precept to refrain from taking the life of any living creature.
Adinna dana veramani sikapadang samadhiyami.
Adina dana vedapmani sikapadang samadhiyami.
I undertake the precept to refrain from taking that which has not been given.
I undertake the precept to refrain from taking that which is not given.
Kame sumichachara veramani sikapadang samadhiyami.
Kame sumichachara vedapmani sikapadang samadhiyami.
I undertake the precept to refrain from sexual misconduct.
I undertake the precept to refrain from sexual misconduct.
Musavada veramani sikapadang samadhiyami.
Musawada vedapmani sikapadang samadhiyami.
I undertake the precept to refrain from lying.
I undertake the precept to refrain from lying.
Surameraya majjhapamadhatana veramani sikapadang samadhiyami.
Surameriyam majjhapamadhatana vedapmani sikapadang samadhiyami.
I undertake the precept to refrain from consuming intoxicating drink and drugs which lead to carelessness.
I undertake the precept to refrain from consuming intoxicating drink and drugs which lead to carelessness.
Imani panchasika padani silena sugating yanti silena boga sampada silena nibuting yanti tasama silang visodaye.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
All right, great job, everybody. So with that chanting, kind of just establishing this principle, this trajectory of our life towards wakefulness, truth, and spiritual community, we can meditate together. And this meditation is called Anchor and Ocean. So we can start off with any meditation is to set the body in a position, a posture which is supportive of the mental posture we're trying to cultivate. So here you can imagine the spine like an anchor, just being dropped from above and then just grounding into the earth. Just allowing the spine, this physical anchor, to elongate. And with the spinal column upright, like this, we can allow all the rest of the body, all the muscles, all the inner organs, all the tendons, sinews, all of that can just be like the ocean. Just let it be. The spine is upright, and everything else is just relaxing and just settling. No need to hold any tension in the body. And with the eyes closed like this, the body can feel vast. It can feel limitless. The edges of the body don't necessarily feel so clear. And as the body is now in a position that is upright but not uptight, we can allow the mind to assume a similar posture. So here the anchor of our meditation will be our primary meditation object. And I'll just speak of that in terms of the breath, but feel free to use whatever object you're most used to. It can be a mantra, it can be some other object, maybe scanning the sensations in the body. But this is the psychic anchor. We pay attention to every in-breath and every out-breath. Full in-breath with awareness, and fully knowing, fully aware of every out-breath. The beginning, the middle, and the end of every in-breath, and the beginning, the middle, and the end of every out-breath. And trying to keep this chain unbroken. And this is what gives solidity and structure to our practice, to our session. We're training in mental solidity, mental firmness, firm establishment of mind. And we can watch the breath, watch this anchor anywhere in the body, at the tip of the nose, the slightly cool in-breath coming in the nose, the slightly warmer breath exiting the nose, the expansion of the lungs with the in-breath and the contraction with the out-breath. The rising of the abdomen, the falling of the abdomen, or just knowing the expansion and contraction of the whole body. With each and every breath. And as we attend to this central anchor, it's also helpful to have some part of the mind that's cognizant of the ocean, just all the vastness and the space that's holding this anchor. And this is, speaking broadly, this is just the big mind. So we're knowing the breath, we're knowing our meditation, knowing this anchor from and within and as this bigger mind, this vast, abundant, immeasurable mind. And the ocean has different characteristics. And as we continue paying attention to the anchor of the breath, I'll just, over the next 10 minutes or so, just be suggesting a few qualities which you can pay attention to as the context for this breath, the space within which this breath is known. Just starting with the principle of friendliness or metta, the ocean of friendliness. You can pay attention to the ocean of softness, the mind's softness that can surround and support and know the breath. Still knowing every in-breath and every out-breath. But tuning into the mind's suppleness, just the malleability, the flexibility of mind. Just knowing from this supple mind. And just in the last few minutes of a meditation, especially a group meditation like this, it's really nice to practice and lean into that quality of friendliness or loving kindness, of metta. We've been cultivating this concentration, this firmness of mind with the breath, and you can stay with that. And then just allow the friendly intention. May I be well, and may all beings be well. Allow that soft and friendly intention to just radiate. You can just say it from your heart space. May I be well, and may all beings be well. And just remembering the heart, the mind, the spaciousness of this capacity for loving kindness. Don't need to be any walls, any barriers. Just may I be well, and may all beings be well. Just allowing that wish to dissolve through or move around, pervade, steep, fill any perception of boundariedness, and just let the mind be big with this well wish. May I be well, and may all beings be well. Above, below, around, and everywhere. Just 360 degrees. Radiating and just allowing the mind to be big with friendliness, with metta.
We'll request a Dhamma talk if you'd like to join in. It's on page 124. Brahma chaloka dipati sahampati katanjaliyana Diwarangaya chata santi dasata parajakatatika desetu dhammang anukampimang bhajang.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. Okay, well, I hope it's good to see everybody. I hope people were able to really get into that meditation, this way of being with the breath or being with one's meditation time, conceiving both of one's specific focus, one's object, and knowing from a bigger, broader, and kinder context. That's really important. I think many people, when we learn meditation, we've learned a specific technique. It might be watching the breath at some particular part of the body, like the tip of the nose, or it might be just staying with a meditation object. And we do that. Say we sit a retreat and we see the value of a trained mind, a mind that can actually just stay with one object. The mind can get really powerful. The mind can become very still, and you can experience seems like levels, subtleties of reality, subtleties of the breath and experience, which you just didn't realize were there before actually just sitting and being with a simple object like this. And having had an experience like that in meditation, we can oftentimes fix on that and really reify or take the object as what's most important and just, okay, if I just get really good at looking and holding on to this object in a very specific way, then my life will get better. And this insight that I had will just continue on in perpetuity. And so I certainly have had this experience when I just think, okay, I just need to look at the breath in a very specific way, hold it just right, and then I'll get that experience back. But that holding itself is problematic. It becomes itself a hindrance. And so having a broader context like this, realizing that we're knowing our meditation object, whatever that is, from a bigger context. And the point of meditation isn't the object. It's not the specific meditation word or whatever the specific technique we're using is, but it is being able to tap into this bigger, more spacious, really more kind mind. So being able to hold both of those at the same time and really knowing and gaining a sense, gaining skill in adverting or attending to which of those aspects is most helpful, whether it's really knowing the specifics of the anchor, really tuning into if the mind is feeling spacey, then really holding on to that anchor, coming down, okay, here very clearly, here's the breath coming in the nose, it's a little bit cool from the outside air, and the mind, or the breath coming out of the nose, it's a little bit warmer, and being very clear about that. There are times when the mind is fuzzy, when that's the right thing to do. But there are times when the mind is tense or the mind is anxious, when just latching on and holding ever tighter and just getting more and more precise. And the Thai word is jutji, jukjik. It's kind of like, just getting into the nitty-gritty of every breath. When the mind is anxious, when there's this kind of unsettledness of mind, you don't want to just nail into or drill into being more and more neurotic around the whole process, but rather opening up to this broader perspective, the ocean of the mind. So one way of conceiving of this ocean is something which came up in our interview with Ajahn Punadhammo this past Wednesday. So Ajahn Punadhammo is a teacher. He's been a monk for probably 40 years, Canadian monk, has a monastery in Arrow River, Canada, and we were talking to him about Abhidhamma, which is basically Buddhist psychology. So you have a very elaborate and enumerated system of explaining different aspects of mind and physicality. So you've got all these lists, very detailed lists. You've got 89 different types of consciousness or citta, which are knowing 52 different types of mental objects, all of which are being known by 4 aspects of materiality or body, which is expanded out to 16 or 20 or something like that. And it's a lot of numbers. And if you came here, if it's your day off and you're like, dude, I just wanted to relax this weekend. I didn't want to do math. It's my weekday job. Just came here to get a little bit of space. Then, you don't have to memorize all these different lists. But there are aspects of mind, very useful truths of mind, which are being pointed to in this seeming complex numerology. So part of these 52 aspects of mental, so mind states, so you've got mind and mind states, the context for the mind, i.e. mind, and mind objects or mental states, these cetasika. And these cetasika, largely speaking, there are some that are just neutral or that are operating all the time, but then you've got some that are wholesome and some that are unwholesome. And getting a sense for what those are, the different flavors of wholesomeness and unwholesomeness, can be really helpful, because oftentimes it's said that they come together. So there are 4 aspects of these unwholesome mind states or mental qualities, which always come up together. Anytime there's an unwholesome, psychically or mentally unhelpful mind state, these 4 mind states run around it. Those are some aspect of delusion, some aspect of restlessness, some aspect of non-conscience, i.e. just a disregard for like a moral sense, so not having conscience, and a lack of ottappa, or a sense of concern for one's action. So these 4 things, a sense of delusion or confusion, restlessness, lack of concern, and conscience, these things wrap around and run around unwholesome mind states. So if you look at your mind state right now and you see any of those 4, then that's a good suggestion that your mind right now, or my mind right now, is in an unwholesome state, is in a state which is maybe not leading in the direction that we might want it to go to. It's a kind of a dark mind. So what do we do about that? What do we do about that? Fortunately, there's a list of 19 wholesome aspects of mind, and there's actually, in this list, when the Abhidhamma is talking about wholesome qualities of mind, it actually calls them beautiful mind states, sobhana cetasika. So most of us have a sense of what's beautiful on an external level, and hopefully all of us have a growing sense of what's beautiful on an internal level, the aspects of mind which are bright and attractive, whether we see them in our own minds or whether we see them in other people's minds. And there's 19 of them which always occur together with any wholesome mind state, which is great. And I won't try to go into all of those. I was about to list them on Wednesday night when we were talking with Ajahn Punadhammo, and off screen, Ajahn Nisabho's like, come on, speed it up, Kovila, okay, get through the list. Not everybody loves lists as much as you do. So I won't list all 19. You can look it up for yourself. 19 universal, beautiful mind states. 19 universal, beautiful mind states. It sounds great, doesn't it? You can look it up online. It's on Wikipedia. Some of them are faith and mindfulness, and there are 6 of them, which I would like to highlight as being flavors of this healthy ocean environment, healthy aspects of a broad and healthy and wholesome mind, of this beautiful mind. So it's actually 6 pairs, and those are, we got settledness, softness, lightness, suppleness, savviness, and uprightness. Okay? I'll say those again. And then I'll give you a poem so you can more easily remember them. So you've got settledness, and you've got softness, and you've got lightness, and you've got suppleness, and you've got savviness, and you've got uprightness. And the poem is settled, softness, space, that's light, supple, savvy, mind upright. So it's not the best poem. If you want better poems, you got to come back when Ajahn Nisabho's here. He's the poem, but he's the poet. Be a settled softness, space that's light, supple, savvy, mind upright. And all of these occur together with a wholesome mind state. So even if you didn't memorize all 6 of those, if you really get a flavor for any one of them, then the other 5 will co-concur with that. They'll arise together. So we can look for these. These are the wholesome ocean, the clean ocean environment that can surround our meditation object. It can surround us, and really any time of day. When we first come to Buddhism, oftentimes it's just about meditation. We just want to learn a technique, which we can do for 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, and then that's it. And we think that'll be a cure-all. And it can really help. It can help our physical bodies, and it can certainly help our psychology. It can help our relationships. But the Buddha's teaching really is about our whole lives, and we can bring healthy states of mind, wholesome and beautiful states of mind to our whole lives. And all of these mental states are ones which are not in the least confined to and constrained to just meditation. So we can look for these beautiful states of mind of settledness, softness, space that's light, supple, savvy, mind upright. We can look for these states any time of day, when we're listening to a Dhamma talk, when we're giving a Dhamma talk, when we're interacting with our children, when we're interacting with our spouse, when we have nothing to do, when we're on the bus, when we're standing in line, when we're sitting, standing, walking, and lying down. Look for any of these and feel the flavor of this, and then see if, once you have a purchase on any one of these, if it then can lead you to seeing each of the others. So that first one is settledness. The Pali is passaddhi. This is one of the 7 factors of awakening. It's also translated as tranquility. So anytime the mind is beautiful, anytime the mind is wholesome, there's an aspect of tranquility, of settledness that's there. And it doesn't have to be, and it's definitely not all the time a deep jhana, absorption, immersion state. It's just some level, some flavor of settledness. And you can look for that right now. This is the ocean. And even if you're experiencing something which seems anything but settled, which seems totally spun around and spun out, if the mind is restless or if the mind is just dull, that can be the case right now. And the mind is bigger than that. The mind is bigger than that. And see if there is around, perhaps through, bigger than whatever afflictive emotion you might be feeling, or any kind of physical unsettledness that you might be experiencing. If you're experiencing any kind of physical pain or discomfort or agitation or sleepiness, see if there's also, and in addition to that, a beautiful aspect of the mind, which right now is actually tranquil. Is there a part of the mind which, just a little bit out, can you look at the parameters, the periphery of your mind? Is there anything that's tranquil? And with each of these 6, the Buddha, or the Abhidhamma, points to both mind and body-mind, which is tranquil. So is there, in the space of mind, is there a tranquil space that you can tap into that's bigger than the confusion you might be feeling? And is there a mental feeling of tranquility? Or can you bring some tranquility to the thought formations around whatever you're experiencing? So that's the settledness. And if that doesn't immediately ring true, if you say, don't feel you, I'm not feeling tranquil, I'm feeling anything but, then don't worry, we've got 5 other beautiful states of mind that hopefully you can feel into. And this first one, this settledness, thinking about it in terms of ocean simile, this is like the depths of the ocean, the deep depths. There is a settledness to the ocean. The ocean is deep, and the deeper you go, then in certain parts, the more and more settled, the less waves that you're feeling. Things can be very calm deep in the ocean. So this settledness, is that there? Is that there right now? And you can just ask that question. Don't take the Abhidhamma's word for it. Don't take my word for it, but just ask yourself, is there a part of the mind which is settled right now? The next of these beautiful aspects that we can look at, the next pair, is softness. The Pali is mudu. mudu, which just sounds soft, and it's related to other words. If you know some Pali, it's related to mudita, which is sympathetic or empathetic joy, this sense of gladness at the joy of others. It's related to anumodana. So we say anumodana a lot, which means I rejoice in your giving or your goodness. So this is based on the root mud, which is a softness. So just looking at the mind right now, and we can do this right now, like not like after the talk is over, but right now, is there some soft aspect to the mind? And is there a mudu aspect to the mind? Both of the chitta mudita and a kaya mudita. So a softness of mind and a softness of mental qualities. Is there a softness of feeling that we can tap into right now? And in terms of oceanic metaphors, this is just like the soft, gentle waves. So as we're sitting to meditate, hopefully everyone will have an object that you're working with, an object of concentration to keep us from just being totally spacey, the breath or a mantra. And through our daily lives, the whole body can be a great anchor. So just coming to this full feeling of knowing the whole body all at once, from the top of the head down to the soles of the feet, all at once. That can be the anchor that we pay attention to. Or just paying attention. You know, loving kindness can be the ocean, but it can also be the anchor if we're in an especially difficult conversation with a loved one or a boss. Then that remembering loving kindness or this friendliness, that can be our anchor. And just looking for this mental softness, this softness of mind. Is there any softness there? The next two qualities are around light and physical lightness as opposed to heaviness. So is there a mental lightness? So these first three are settled, softness, space that's light. Space that's light. The Pali is lahuta. Is there a lightness, an unbearable lightness of being? Can we tune into some level of the mind, if it's very manifest, if it's very abundant right now, some kind of, things just feel light. And hopefully all of us have had emotions or friendships, which just, it's very easy to feel that lightness. You feel lightness around certain relationships. You just want to be around people because they make you feel light. And that's great, but what we're training in and what we're learning how to see, figuring out how to turn to, is not so context dependent, seeing a lightness that is not dependent on the people we're around or the physical feelings that we're experiencing, but there's some maybe, or just question mark, is there a lightness here that could be experienced? And if not, no worries. We can go back to one of those previous ones, the subtleness or the softness, or any of the next three. But this is in the ocean metaphor. This is like the buoyancy of the ocean. Just, if things are light enough, then there's a buoyancy. Things will float to the top of the ocean. And looking for lightness of mind and mind qualities. So any feelings of lightness. The next quality is suppleness. The Pali is kamanyata. So it's based on the word kama, which is just action. So kamanyata is that which is actionable or that which is workable. Other translations of malleability or suppleness. Is there suppleness of mind? I mean, just, things can be. There is some wiggle room. Or is there some wiggle room to the mind? And with any of these questions, it's not at all, we need to learn how to ask genuine questions of the mind without assuming any kind of answer, especially with these abhidhamma things. Honestly, the whole Tipitaka, the whole aspect of the Pali Canon, the Buddhist scriptures, the abhidhamma, the Buddhist psychology, is one which I don't necessarily think that I have faith that the Buddha himself taught it. It seems like a structure which came up after the time of the Buddha, just a philosophical system created by later generations of monastics to kind of fill out the psychology of Buddhism. So, is it true that there can be an aspect of malleability to the mind, even when I feel utterly unmalleable. When the mind and the body feel locked up, are there aspects which are supple? The next quality is savviness. Savviness, what does that mean? Savviness. The Pali is pagunyata. The more common translation is having proficiency, a proficiency of mind. Is there some level of wisdom to the mind? Is there a wisdom, an intuition, an intuitional level of mind that we can tap into? So on the level of the ocean, this is like, just the ocean does have this homeostasis. It's a very intricate balance that it's doing, this dance all the time, balancing all the creatures and minerals and everything that's going on in the ocean ecosystem. There's this proficiency there, this savviness, and looking for that, looking for the intuitive aspect of mind. And the last aspect that we'll talk about this morning is the uprightness, so the uju nature. The uju nature. So is there a part of the mind which can be upright? And the Metta Sutta, which we have in our chanting book, the Buddha's words on loving kindness, actually talks about this. One should be able and upright. So uju and suhuju. So upright and uju and suhuju. Upright and very upright, like very upright. So, and this isn't upright as in uptight, but just like a rectitude, a moral and psychological rectitude. Is there a feeling of rightness in the mind? So, let's see if we can. It's not a very good poem. It's not a very good poem, I have to admit. But see if, I'll say it really slowly, and if you all could say it, I'll say the word so slowly that maybe you could even predict what I'm going to say after I say the first syllable, and we can all try to say the poem together. So it starts with settled. So, settled, softness, space that's light, yes. Supple, savvy, yes. Mind upright, mind upright. God, I gotta get out on this about to write my poems in the future. But you can go back and watch this if you want, or just memorize it some other way. Memorize the aspects of the ocean, the depth of the ocean that's pointing to the settledness. Remember the softness of the waves. Remember the buoyancy, the lightness of the ocean. Remember the suppleness, just the way that the ocean just moves through the anchor, just goes around any obstruction. And there's the savviness, just the ecosystem, the inherent intelligence, if you want, of the ocean. And then the uprightness, just you drop anything in the ocean and it's heavy enough, and it'll just go straight to the bottom. So however you can, and even if you don't memorize that list, just seeing if any of them do ring true. And it can be just some way to get some level of purchase on the mind, because most of us are not dwelling in a beautiful mind all the time. We do experience obstructive and unbeautiful states of mind not infrequently, and finding some way to say, okay, this is, I can hold on to this. There is some level of softness in the mind, and I can look at that and keep paying attention to that, keep feeling that softness of mind or that suppleness of mind. And the Buddha says that whatever one frequently thinks and ponders upon, that will become the inclination of the mind. So the more we're able to advert to and pay attention to these wholesome things, these healthy things, these beautiful things, then the less inclined we will be to just follow our old habits of just doing whatever comes up, just the unconscious, bad or neutral or default habits we have that can just lead us into dark places if we're not careful. So leave the talk there. Okay.
Handamayang Dhamma Kataya Sadhu Karang Dhammase Sadhu 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 Anumodani.
Okay, so we can open it up to questions, or if people have comments, and we'll be curious if people were able to attend to or see any of those qualities. And Yeah, we also can have people have questions on Zoom. We can go to you over there as well. Yeah, please. And I think Rick has a microphone, so we can bring a microphone to you so people on Zoom can hear. And if people could say their name, that is helpful if you're willing.
Hi, so I'm Adrian. First thing that came, or something that came to mind with uprightness was like maybe how to distinguish it from righteousness. Maybe this feeling that, oh, I know what's right, everyone else is wrong. You know, I have the right answers, something like that.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Yeah, righteousness, certainly like righteous indignation, or even just righteousness in itself can be, it can just get us into a lot of trouble. Whereas there is a lot of talk in Buddhism of capital R is the usual translation: right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right mindfulness, right livelihood. All of these right. And we can get the idea that, okay, I need to hold on to this, that only this is true and everything else is wrong. And actually, that's a quote from the Buddha suggesting a mind state that we should really be mindful of, to skirt around. So if you ever have this sense that only this is true and everything else is wrong, if you feel that rather than the mind being spacious and flexible, i.e. malleable or supple around things, it just feels like it's getting more and more tight, like I'm needing more and more to just hold on to this, to entrench myself in opposition to the world. That is a suggestion that the way we're holding whatever that is in an unhelpful way, it doesn't necessarily mean that what we're thinking is wrong. Like, we can hold on to right things in an unhelpful way. Like Ajahn Chah talks about being aware of this feeling of true but not right, right but not true. And one interesting thing is thinking of this rightness in Buddhism less as like ethically or truly, capital T, true, I'm the one who has the right view, more of like the rightness in music, like something being, it's right in tune. So like there's an in-tuneness with myself and with my intentions and the people around me, and even if not with the people around me, with just a peaceful mind. There's an in-tuneness between how I'm holding my mind space and my thoughts, and the truth of peace, like a peaceful mind. So I thank you for highlighting that. Does that make sense? This kind of, right in tune, I think, is a nice way to hold that. What was your name again? Adrian. Good to meet you. And we'll do Cliff, and then maybe go to Mary.
I'm Cliff. I want to follow up on Adrian's question. It seems that all of these qualities, language can lead us astray when we're thinking with English language concepts from these Pali concepts. I thought he did a good job coming up with a way language can lead us astray about uprightness. I have another example with savviness. When you described proficiency, when you describe the etymology with Pali, I'm thinking that my first word I would go to in English would be insightfulness, and I think that would lead us astray from the qualities. Can you comment on the language issue or about particular misinterpretations?
Yeah, it's a really good point, and I think it's helpful for us to realize our own inclinations. Like, some of us are highly verbal people, very kind of brain-oriented people, and for me, I love language, and the nuances of words are quite significant, and there is a big effect, a big relationship between how I'm naming something and the effect that it has on my affective tone, my hedonic tone, the feelings in the body. And other people, the languaging, the specific words we use aren't so important, where it's just the feeling which is more important, and people can kind of just, whether or not you can name specific mind states very well, you'll have these type of people, or this type of mind can know, okay, this is the feeling, this is what suppleness feels like, this is what savviness feels like, this is what softness feels like in the body and in the mind. And then yeah, whether or not we can come up with a good word to describe that or not, that's not important for everybody. But I think to your question and to mine, I do appreciate getting more and more a feeling, both in meditation and in daily life, for what it actually feels like, and then just adjusting our naming of that. It's like all of Buddhism is about just having this, educated hypothesis. I've got this working hypothesis about the Buddhist teachings, about what the world is like. I've got this working hypothesis. I'm predicting what the world outside of me and the world inside of me is like. And I'm hopefully getting more and more accurate at that prediction, more and more clear idea of what the mind is like and what the world is like. And so adjusting from time to time. Like if you start feeling and seeing that, okay, this takes savviness is, I think, the most difficult to name, but just the softness, I think, is a lot easier to name. So when you get more and more of a feeling of what this wholesome and beautiful softness feels like, you're able to do this differential diagnosis, just like you do in medicine. Like the softness that's beautiful in the mind is not a cowardice. It's not just a utterly shrinking away that's just utterly soft and like Play-Doh. It's not the Play-Doh mind. The softness that's beautiful in the mind is not that. It's not a moral cowardice or moral softness. It's just a softness that is actually very powerful. It's like, say the softness of water, more than the softness of Play-Doh or clay. So being able to name that more. So it sounds like you've got more of a sense which kind of works for you. Maybe insightfulness has a better ring than savviness for each, and that's the problem with language, is that each of us have our own connotations and web around different ways that we've heard the words savvy or supple or insightful or whatever, and just realizing what the connotation of all these different words mean for us. But really what's most important is the feeling, and even more important than the feeling is the pristine actual state of mind, of which the feeling is just an indicator. Yeah. So really jumping in the water and seeing what the water feels like that Ajahn Chah quote, that you've got say a cup of water, and in Thai you call it namron, in Isan you call it namhon. In English you say it's hot water, whereas you just put your finger in it and doesn't matter what language you're using, and okay, this is warm water. So yeah, jumping into the water and seeing what it's like for ourselves. Thanks, Cliff. Maybe go into Mary.
Thank you, Ajahn. Hello, everybody. What a beautiful talk and meditation. I really want to thank you for it. And also thank you for elucidating more on the Abhidharma talk and kind of fleshing it out. Apropos of the last question, Ajahn, on language, I love the talks about the wholesome quality. The one unwholesome quality that I don't understand, and I would appreciate almost a definition for, is non-consciousness. How can one not be conscious of what I understand unconscious? What is non-conscious? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mary. And the word that I was pointing to there, which is one of the four universal unwholesomes. So those universal unwholesomes, again, are confusion, which is moha. We've got restlessness, uddhacca. We've got ahiri and unotapa. So not non-consciousness, but non-conscience. So like, and concern. So hiri is conscience, like a moral conscience, like an internal feeling of like, oh, this is wrong. This feels morally wrong. Like if we're having an affair with our best friend's spouse, like hopefully there would be something internally which would be like, dude, really? And that's like the inner feeling of conscience. And concern is this external concern for what other people would think about it. Like not only we're out of sync, we're incongruous with a morally sane universe when we do something which is morally suspect, but this is kind of a little bit of an alarm bell So if we just ignore that and we just plunge ahead and just lie and pretend that there's no consequences, pretend like we don't feel anything, which will definitely lead to psychopathy. And unfortunately, there are lots of very famous examples of just blatant and shamelessness. This is another translation for this ahirika. So not non-conscience, but shamelessness. And it is important, again, this is a language thing. Shame and guilt in English, both of them can be problematic for the way that most people hear them. We're not encouraging you to actively feel shame about yourself, but just cultivating a real sense of this clarity, this moral clarity, which leads you in the direction of clean waters. So that's the shamelessness which we don't want to incline towards, and that shamelessness is one of the four. So was that what you were pointing to, Mary?
It really does. And I heard it wrong. I took it as consciousness, not
Yeah.
conscious, how your conscience is working.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yes. Thank you. That was very clarifying. I appreciate it much. Thank you.
Great, and I'm glad you liked the talk. I was really like, oh God, this talk is just so many numbers. And I'm like, I just have to keep my eyes open. I'm like, people still awake? Oh my.
Love the talk.
Okay, good.
Love the talk.
Nice.
Thank you.
Okay. I was just staying soft. I'm like, okay, even if nobody else likes this, there can still be some softness here. So great. Yeah, please. Noah.
What about the other side of that, where you're like blinded by shame, like that's all you see?
Yeah, so Hiri is, so there are actually 25 of these beautiful mind states, only 19 of which are always present, and the 6 are some of those nine are some of those 19. But one of those 19 actually is Hiri, which is like this wholesome, what I was just talking about, the opposite end of this wholesome, clear sense of moral shame. But again, you really have to just get a feeling for this, like this moral shame, which is wholesome, which is beautiful, which is brightening, which is a bright mind state, is almost, it is the opposite of the way that English term is often used, like just feeling debilitated by, I feel utterly shamed, I feel utterly ashamed, I'm totally shame-worthy. And one of the big differences is that unhealthy, unhelpful way of English shame, and almost like it's celebrated in some cultures and even some religions, like I'm inherently, this inherent shamefulness, this inherent like sin, original sin of dirtiness, that does have an unhelpful flavor to it, and that's not the Hiri that we're pointing to. So you really want to be clear that, okay, that actually is a dark mind state that I don't want to cultivate, and just seeing, is there any softness around that? Is there any suppleness around that? Is there any uprightness around that? Settledness around that? So we're not at all, this isn't a Pollyanna path. We're not encouraging you to pretend like mind states that are there aren't there. Buddhism is all about clearly seeing what's actually going on in the mind, but acknowledging that, and capital A-N-D, and the mind is bigger than that. So if we are experiencing this shame because we've been conditioned by that, we've been conditioning ourselves, our culture has been conditioning us to do that, our media, our families, you need to feel ashamed about that. It seems like culture and religions might be saying that to us, but a hallmark of that is the self, like I am shameworthy, I am shameful. And that I sense is a big part of what makes that whole thing problematic. And being able to separate out, okay, what I did was unhelpful, it was unwholesome, it caused stress and difficulty and pain for myself and others. It was unhealthy. But in Buddhism, there's no capital S self. I'm not a slave to that. I am not that shame only. Like, that was an activity I did in the past, And even if it was a habitual habit in the past, I'm not just that. The mind is bigger than that. So, yeah, leaning into the bright kind of ocean that surrounds that, any kind of shame. And it might seem almost, when we're utterly transfixed and seems like trapped by a mind state, to talk about like an oceanic mind which is bigger than that, it's almost like, come on, dude, my mind is just so small and I'm just trapped right now. And there really is, I'm confined, the confinedness, and just being with the realness of that. And the mind is bigger. Is the mind bigger? Just that question, I think, is really always helpful to get us out of the confinedness and the barriers that we've created for ourselves. So I might maybe just one more question, and then we might go to, we've got a special celebration. But yeah, please.
Hi, I'm Danielle. Okay, my question is between confusion, delusion we were just talking about, because sometimes there might be like a delusion about like right view, like on life, but a feeling of not being confused or not being delusional, like no conscious awareness of that, but then being out of tune with the reality of the, right view. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, sometimes that, so that's the first of the 4 universal unhelpful, ugly kind of mind states is, delusion or confusion, moha, and then we've got the restlessness, and then the ahiri, otapaka, like shamelessness, and then non-concern. And that, delusion, sometimes it is defined as not seeing clearly the 4 Noble Truths, so not knowing how we cause ourselves suffering, not realizing this is suffering, it's caused by craving, that there is a way to get over that craving, and that there's a path leading to the end of that. Sometimes that's the definition of delusion, is not seeing that. But I think when we're looking at the level of individual mind states, or the level of just our present moment experience, I think moha is better understood here, not as an intellectual thing. It's not that I, in this present moment, am not thinking, okay, there's the 4 Noble Truths, for first, second, third. It's not that we have to be thinking all of those 4 things every moment. But it is just like I think you could conceive of its opposite as being clarity or mindfulness. Mindfulness is one of the 19 universal beautiful mind states. So if there's proper mindfulness, if there's a mindfulness which is bringing this clarity to our situation, then in that moment, there is not that does away with, in the blink of an eye, then the delusion that was there a moment ago, when we bring clarity to that, when we have a mind that's bigger than that delusion, then that's a beautiful mind state, and we're in that space. And unfortunately, it's like the mind is just so fast, that we forget that in the next moment. We forget the clarity, which remembers that the mind can be big, and that we can see clearly, even if we can see darkness clearly, it seems. Like this, there is some level of confusion or fear or restlessness, but in the knowing of that is a moment of clarity, is a moment of this beautiful mind. So, yeah, the opposite of clarity, I think, is a way. And the feeling of that, does that make?
Yeah, that's clarifying. I imagine it like a flat note, like you're hitting a flat note if you're kind of like confused. Yeah, like out of tune.
That's really good. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, well, that was really nice. So what we do on the first Saturday of every month is, in addition to taking the precepts and refuges, we have an opportunity to celebrate everybody who might have a birthday this month. So a birthday or just some kind of special day this month. If you've graduated from something, or if you have an anniversary or anything like that, this is a time to kind of bring that up. And we actually ask, it's an exercise in boldness. Anybody who has something in that month to come, if you have a birthday or some kind of special day that would be nice to be able to celebrate in the group, then we do ask people if you're willing to come up and we'll just ask you to share what that is, to share your birthday, and maybe just one thing in the year that's passed that has been some kind of Dhamma insight that you've had in the past year. So, exercise and boldness. You can all rush up at the same time if you want. Nice, thank you. And could we get a microphone as well? And Cheryl, maybe you could pull the camera back a little bit. Okay, yep. All right, and Rick's passing a microphone, so people can stand or sit or however you like. All right. And we'll just kind of go down the line, and so yeah, just saying your birthday if you're so willing, and some Dhamma insight in the last year, and your name. That's great.
My name is Danny. My birthday is tomorrow, and there have been a lot of Dhamma insights. I've been very grateful for becoming more connected to this community. That's not an insight, that's just a thing that's happened. Most recently, a little more awareness of breath meditation and affectionate breath meditation, seeing the breath with gratitude.
I'm Danielle, and it's not my birthday, but I'm going to make a pilgrimage to Tibet, to Mount Kailash, and so it feels like a big moment in my life. And I just feel this last year there's been a profound emptying happening on my physical reality plane, which has brought a lot of spaciousness to my heart and capacity to experience the truth of life in every moment. So, yeah.
I'm Noah. See, my birthday was 6 days ago, and how do I put it simply? I'd say my biggest Dhamma milestone would be maybe not getting a little deeper with that whole non-self. I mean, I definitely have further to go, but just internalizing it a little more and being more aware of it.
And we can do one of these Anjali things for everybody, and then we'll do a big triple sadhu at the end for everybody.
I'm Dandelion. My birthday is on June 20th. And as far as Dhamma insights, I really only started practicing Dhamma or meditation in the past year, so I think just making a lot more space for stillness and solitude and finding peace in that rather than finding discomfort in that. That's probably the main thing.
I'm Alf. My birthday is on Wednesday, the 11th. I turned 55. 55 is the old speed limit for folks that are my age. And I'm going to use that opportunity to practice driving with Dharma Vihara for the rest of my life, hopefully. I really get annoyed driving in traffic. But coming to Sangha today, I practiced that, and I walked out of my car with a smile, which was really odd.
Let's do a big triple sparkly sadhu for everybody. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right. Well, great milestones. Thanks everybody for coming up. And we actually do have, we've got dessert devas. Who was the dessert deva today? Carrie. That's right. Carrie made. Looks like we got cookies back there and Rice Krispie treats. So, and vegan as well. So that's great. All of the birthday and celebrants can definitely help yourself, and everybody else can help yourselves as well. We have this potluck, and maybe just ask anybody who is here for the first, second, or third time if you'd be willing to maybe just say your name and how you heard about Clear Mountain. Great. Good to meet you, Samantha. Sadhu. Welcome, Paloma.
Hi, my name is Lorenzo. I heard of this group on the east side meditation group. This is my first Saturday here, but I've been following a lot of activities with teachers. I'm loving it.
Welcome, Lorenzo. Okay. Oh, yeah, please. Your name is Nick? Nick is your name? Nick. Okay, good to meet you. Welcome. Okay. Oh, and then someone on Zoom. Is that Kosha?
Yeah, that's right. Thank you so much, Ajahn. This is actually my second time with Clear Mountain, but my first time was at 3 a.m. my local time in an MN session with you. But this is my first live Dhamma session here. A very amazing experience. I feel very blessed. And I like to echo, Mary, that your Dhamma talk was wonderful and inspiring. I totally enjoyed it, got a lot out of it. So thank you so much for that. And how did I find you? I found you through Ajahn Sona, because that is my main virtual Sangha, and now you are my second virtual Sangha.
Great. Welcome, Kosha. And we will have Ajahn Sona come, and as well as a lot of our Bhikshuni siblings, sisters, and that'll be on June 28th. Talk to Kate if you'd like to volunteer or help out with that. We do have the potluck, of course. Help yourself. People bring food every week. You can also bring food if you want. There's more than enough for everybody. We got dessert stavas from Carrie, and hope everybody has a great rest of the day. I'll be going to TWISP just after this to join Ajahn Nisabo, and yeah, keeping a mind open for that some future year if you're able to come for some of these 2-day retreats. So that's the morning. People can bow if you'd like, but no pressure at all.